007 First Light. Very good addition to the 007 inspired stories. I've always been a big fan of 007 movies and games. I've always had a lot of fun playing them. This one, I had fun playing it. The story was amazing, bit in just like a James Bond movie, and it pretty much shows you how James Bond starts out, and then towards the end you become 007. So you do all these extraordinary things throughout the game: fighting, shooting, investigating, sabotaging, and making love to women. This game took me about 13 hours to complete on normal difficulty. The characters in this game seem very well thought out and planned accordingly with the story of how their characters interact with one another. It really feels good. It doesn't feel like it falls flat in any way possible. You start out as Airman James Bond, supposed to be flying off to a mission, and you get shot down, and then you get recruited into the MI6 to run the mission. And then eventually you have to go to MI6 and start the 00 project, which has been reamped again. And then you fight your way across the world trying to discover a mystery behind what James Bond is supposed to be doing. Trying to solve a evil madman with delusions of grandeur and all that. And then just be kind of throwing a little bit of a twist at the end. Graphics overall really incredible. I haven't seen anything better than this. The voice acting really on par. Music, sound effects, awesome, incredible. Hell, there's even a part where you escape a plane that's blowing up and you're trying to fall, and you have that classic James Bond music going on in the background, and then you have to get a parachute from one of the enemy characters, which was very fun. The driving in this, unfortunately, there's only a couple times where you really just go and drive a vehicle. Once for like a real high speed chase, and then once in a boat, which I didn't much care for the boat part, but it is what it is. The driving of the car, the chase, was a hell of a lot better. Weapons, you have a service pistol, plus there's other pistols you can pick up along in the game. And of course, right here is just showing you what I can use in for customization for TACCOM only. There's a few more weapons than this in the game. So I've only found one sniper rifle, which is that one, which is pretty good. Now on to gadgets. You have the Q-Watch, the laser strap, the dart phone, the flash mind, the shockwave camera, smoke pod, and the missile pin. The missile pin is probably the best by far, but uses too much resources. You have a chemical resource, and then you have an electrical resource. And then you have these costumes that can only be used in TAC-SIM only, so, which is kind of a downfall, and kind of a, I think it's kind of stupid. I wish I'd be able to play use these costumes in the actual campaign, but whatever, it is what it is. And then here's tackler simulations, where you can load up for different missions that do come up from time to time. They're mostly a replay of some of the old missions and other scenarios they can come up with. You have escalation and operations. Here's all the escalations that I have unlocked, which I haven't played very much of. And then you have operations. So I'm not going to play too much of this. I played like one scenario where all it was fist fighting, which is fine. It was taken out of a place in the story itself, but not in the story, if I remember correctly. And as you complete these missions, you get a different rank and intel to spend on for unlocks, like outfits, weapons, skins, all that kind of stuff, and upgrades to your weapons in the TAC-SIM, not the campaign. So, yeah, and as you can see here in that left corner, you see electric and chemical. That's what your gadgets use for energy when you use them. Now for the campaign itself. I mean, like I said, I already talked about the story being incredible or great or amazing, whatever. But for me, I mean, it really didn't drop off at any point to where it made me like, this is stupid or anything like that. It's just, I don't want to play it again. And that's really weird. Uh, and it is what it is. I mean, this might not be my cup of tea to where I want to replay it over and over again. Some other people will disagree with me, and that's completely fine. But this one I don't find myself wanting to replay and play again. But for you that want to replay the campaign over and over again, they have different challenges in each stage. You have a completely ghost never get caught challenge, you have a pacifist challenge, and then you have a assault challenge. And these are in different spots in these levels where you have to be completely undetectable or complete assault or complete, pacifist. And you also have other like global challenges like 15 bluffs or use the missile pin 10 times. I'm not going to go back and try to get all these challenges because like I said, I really don't care to play the campaign again. One thing that I felt like for me personally, this game should have had some kind of multiplayer. Yes, not all games need multiplayer, but I feel like it kind of did to me. But I probably wouldn't have played it for very much longer because I have a huge backlog. I mean, it could have been fun, but I'm I'm on that teeter point where, yeah, it's probably a good call they didn't add it, but they added the tax sim for multiple playability. So, and with the further roadmap for this year, they're adding a lot more content to this. So they're actually going to be adding some more missions that you can play as 007 after the end of the game. So you are announced as 007. So, which is really cool. At the end of the day, it's kind of hard to justify a $70 price tag on this game, especially one that I am not going to replay again and again and again. So I would wait for this game to be actually on sale before you even buy it, and that's my honest opinion. Even though I paid $70 for it, and even though I had fun playing it, I mean, there are the cons with it. Like, for example, I want to use the service pistol throughout the whole mission. Now, you only get limited ammunition with it, and then you can't recover any ammo. And for the most part of the game, you can only carry two weapons, which is a pistol or a larger weapon like an SMG or assault rifle, shotgun, or sniper rifle. You can't carry, two large weapons at once. Which I can understand, but whatever. And like typical Bond fashion, he usually discards weapons after they run out of ammunition. But when I find a really good gun I love to use, I kind of want to keep it. That's just how I am normally. So there's that con. And then pretty much my lack of wanting to replay this over. It's not to say it's a bad game. It's a really good game. You ought to give it a chance. And also, another con that I have is this disconnected screen. Yes, I know this is probably has to do with some kind of, we have to see if you have a legal version of this, and I could have slipped it into play offline, but I didn't feel like doing that. This at least prompted at least twice in almost every run of 2 to 3 hours, and of course I'm playing at 11:30 at night, so just to get bogged down by this, and I'm surprised it didn't happen during crucial moments where I'm in a gunfight or a fist fight. I'm glad that didn't happen, but I could just only imagine if it did do that. And I'm brought out of the fight, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Oh, I gotta reconnect. Whoop-de-doo. I didn't like that. And yes, I know I could have switched off to offline mode, but I didn't care to. Play this one out however you can. I give this one probably a 7 out of 10. Yeah. Yeah. So feel free to disagree with me and all that like that. Some people like to compare this with Hitman. The only Hitman I've played was the first person version mode of Hitman. Now I do have copies of the newer versions of Hitman, which I still would like to play, but I just I haven't gotten it around the time playing it. But to me, a better game in the stealth secret agent line to me is Alpha Protocol. Yeah, that was a janky mess, but it was still enjoyable, and I played that one multiple times. So, but like, subscribe, all that jazz really helps out the channel. Thank you, and have a good night.